Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. In this video, I want to do a deep dive into a business and a token that we probably all know by now, and that's Binance. However, you might have missed a few of their announcements that they've had over the past 12 months, and I want to put those all together and talk about the future direction I see for the company and the token itself. So it's hard to believe that Binance has only been around for around 18 months, and they really changed the way we thought about altcoin trading and getting rid of that fiat on ramp and giving people a place to trade, Bitcoins for altcoins and a lot of different pairs. But not only that, they gave you a way to invest in the exchange itself and give a lot of utility to that BNB token. So I've done a deep dive into this before. The team have vested for a number of years. They're here for the long term. I spoke about all the different utility you get from owning that BNB token, and depending on how much you own, you get even more value on top of those airdrops, voting, and of course that burn. Reducing the supply is a huge plus for me as a holder of this BNB token. They recently completed their 6th burn, and that will continue until 50% of all tokens are burned. Another little feature they've added that I love is that dust program. So convert all your small amounts of altcoins into BNB. And again, it's just all these little things I'm going to speak about that are putting upwards pressure on the price, those basics of supply and demand. Another thing that they've focused on is education, and I think that's going to be huge for the future. There was lots of speculation and everything just went up in the last bull run. I think the next run is going to be really different with a focus on projects that are actually making a difference in the real world, have true utility, and the education side of things, guys. I've been lucky enough to have a few of my videos featured in Binance Academy where they've got a lot of great educational content, so check that out if you haven't already. They also bought the Trust wallet. It started off as an Ethereum wallet, but they've been adding more and more coins, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Tron. I think this is going to continue to have features added and be integrated more into the Binance world and the ecosystem. And with so much on the horizon, I see a lot of potential for this Trust wallet, and they wouldn't have bought it if they didn't have big plans for it themselves. Another thing that I love is BNB token as a utility where you can spend it. So the Australian company Travel by Bit, they had a stake purchased by Binance in the company because they see such a great potential. We've got over 200 merchants in Australia where you can spend BNB, book your holiday, and we already see this really taking off for tourism. We know Binance have already partnered with hotel chains. I just think that utility of BNB as an actual spending option and international currency of sorts is going to continue to grow as well. Next up here, we've got that charity foundation, and there was a lot of murky happenings in the crypto space. A lot of people weren't happy with the listing fees and so on. So Binance made that decision to be more transparent and give a lot of their money to charity, which I think was definitely a step in the right direction. Recently, they added more trading pairs, and look, a few people weren't happy that they got rid of those Ethereum trading pairs, particularly the Ethereum community. Obviously, the Ripple community were happy that they were adding these XRP pairs. Look, I think there's always going to be tribalism in crypto, but at the end of the day, if there's more altcoin pairs and more optionality, it's certainly going to increase their customer base, and they're there to please more customers and make money off fees. Recently, they added these sub accounts, and this is a big step in the right direction of institutional clients and professionalism, where you can have these master accounts and you can permission up to 200 sub accounts. So this is great for think about trading companies, investing companies, running a business, and being able to give them certain permissions. I think this is just a step in the direction towards STOs and the security token space. They partnered with Malta, with the Malta Stock Exchange. We've heard about New Fund as well getting on board, and I think they're going to be heavily involved in the STO space. Otherwise, they wouldn't have moved to these friendlier jurisdictions and been making all these partnerships. So I think Binance is going to have a big role to play in that next wave, the STO evolution. Next up, we've got the Binance Launchpad. So this is kicking off on the 28th of January with that BitTorrent token sale. Now, I don't want to talk about the BitTorrent token or its utility too much at all. I'll let you be the judge of all that. But the fact is that Binance are advising and launching this token, and you can buy the token on the network that it's being launched, which is Tron, but also with that BNB token itself. Now, think about Ethereum when the ICO space took off and all those projects that you wanted to invest in, you had to own some ETH. If Binance Launchpad takes off and all these projects that are being launched on top of it, you only can invest in by having that BNB token, again, that is going to be such a big driver of the price, the basics of supply and demand would suggest. Next up here, we've got the DEX, and this is the one that I've been excited about as soon as it was first mentioned. The little whispers that Binance were going to launch their decentralized exchange. One of the things that I spoke about was that I think they're going to use that token in some sort of staking or as at least gas for the network. And now those rumors have turned out to be true. That BNB coin, just like Ethereum acts as gas on the ETH blockchain, BNB is going to be acting as gas on this Binance DEX. And I think you're going to be able to plug in all sorts of wallets. They're going to probably integrate Trust Wallet to this, having custody of your funds and being able to trade directly. Again, they're just giving you that optionality, whether you want to trade on that centralized exchange, decentralized option, STOs. I think they're just trying to put a foot, in every corner and capture market share. Very powerful stuff. Recently, they launched Binance Jersey, and they have spoken about their mission of having 2 exchanges on every continent except Antarctica, I think. Now, what does that mean? A lot of people already have a Binance account. They're saying, well, what does it mean by signing up to these regional exchanges? Now, I've got an affiliate link in the description below if you want to sign up. If you live in Europe and you want that fiat channel, if you want that on-ramp for Great British Pounds or Euros, link those bank accounts, get fiat in. And that is what they are planning to do. No matter what country or continent you're in, they want to give you a fiat on-ramp rather than just being able to trade your Bitcoin for altcoins as well. So I think that's going to be huge. I think there's so much potential I've spoken about on the channel in these countries that are developing. Africa is where they've already tried to make an impact there, and we see it with things like these meetups as well. So grassroots, community focused, show people that you do care about them, have these meetups, sponsor these hackathons, and then launch their exchanges as well. And I think that's what's really captured the hearts of a lot of these regional areas. One thing that I have been speaking about is everyone's obsession with the ETF and other investment products, and I'm not too fussed about what happens there. I think that's sort of short to medium term noise. The real powerful for adoption is going to come from these places in Africa, throughout China, developing nations, and when they have this Empowering 1 Million Kids initiative, I just think that's so powerful if we can get adoption and give them these on-ramps, give them these basic smartphones with crypto wallets, and really get them interested in bypassing that entire traditional banking infrastructure. So Binance, you'd have to say, has become the most powerful exchange out there between Binance and CZ. Well over 1 million followers now. They're so impactful, everything they do and say. CZ's got a lot of experience running different companies in the tech space. I just think that this has been such a great project. I did miss out on that ICO at 10 cents, which returned over 200-fold at one stage. And I did have to sit on the sidelines and wait for that pullback. I didn't want to chase it, but I have been recommending to add this one under $10 if you believe in Binance. All those things that I've mentioned in this video, I've certainly been averaging into this one around the $6 range. And in our premium community, we've had a focus on projects where the token has true utility and companies that are producing revenue. These are real world products being used by real people. On top of that, all those future expansion plans and that grassroots focus that I've mentioned, I really think that Binance is a winner, and it's probably coming to a country near you. So let me know what you guys think in the description below, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share these videos around, and thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.